everybody. It is Monday, June 9th. I had to look to see what day it was because I really don't know what day it is half the time anymore. And welcome to our hot mess kitchen. It is in full-on Creami creation zone as Kathy finishes up some things for the book. So there might be some things being made that, might look like waffle bowls that are completely vegan. So those were round one, and I think they're a little thick, and I think she was trying to see if she could actually make those thinner. So anywho, that's where we're at, is Creami City. And let me go tell her that she has her headphones on and she's singing, so let me go tell her that the whole entire world can hear her. I'll be right back.
I didn't even know I was. I thought I was humming. I'm trying so hard to copy and paste well. Are you live?
Yes, I'm live.
Hi, everybody. I can't sing.
Oh my goodness. So anyhow, looks like Fergus has abandoned me. So she was in there just singing away. And she has her headphones on, so if I hollered at her, she would have never heard me. So there you go. Life at our house. So Monday, it's a new week. We all have had a week to see if we can, mine was to see if I could sleep better. And I have slowly moved an hour back a couple times, so I'm going to bed a little earlier than 5 or 5:30. That was kind of my max. And last night I actually went to bed about 2:30, and actually it was probably more like 3:30 because I think I posted something at like 3 o'clock and somebody actually responded. So yeah, I think it might have been 3:30 before I went to bed last night. But the thing is, like, my mind's not shutting down, and so rather than just lay there and stare at the ceiling, I decided now, since all the other things that I tried didn't really work that well, that I decided to just get up and work. So I have been actually just working away, making little shorts and things like that in the middle of the night and posting them up on the travel channel, and that's kind of what I've been doing, and trying to get my game plan together to try to pack a little lighter and things like that. And anybody's got any tips, like if there's any of you that are one baggers, I am fascinated by that idea. Our friend that house sits for us when we're away a lot of the times is actually a one bagger. One bag on the back, one kangaroo on the front, and that's all she takes. And I can't wrap my head. I tried so bad. So last month when we went to Alaska, I got as close as I have ever come to one bagging, which was one bag for me and all my stuff, and then a community suitcase that had like pillows and sleep machines and things like that we just feel like we can't go without right now. And anyhow, that bag was so heavy that I could not lift that thing. Like, I could lift it and get it up and I'd swing it up on my back, but like after about like maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours of walking around in downtown Seattle with that thing on my back. I was like, I can't do it anymore. And so we got on the hop on, hop off bus and just kept riding around to places that we wanted to go so we didn't have to walk with those big heavy packs on us the whole time. Kathy's was pretty significantly heavy too. So I took that pack back to REI because we all know that REI has an amazing return policy. I talk about REI, and to me, I'm like, REI is the Costco of sporting goods. You got a year to return stuff. And I mean, they'll take it back. I've seen stuff for sale in there with mud still clinked up in the boots and stuff in the used section. But anyhow, took that pack back. It was a really nice pack. And so somebody got a really good deal on that, and they're probably super stoked about it. But that was a 35-liter pack. And I'm too old and too short for a 35-liter pack at this point because I can pack too much in it. And so I traded that one in for a smaller 28-liter pack, and so I'm excited to see it came today. Same brand, Cotopaxi, and I'm excited to see how this one works for, and I also got some padded gear bags and things like that so I can get all my equipment out of these big heavy cases that I have and just kind of put them in padded little things that are ultralight and see if that takes some of the weight off for me and also helps me be able to finagle things around a little bit better. So we'll see. I'm excited to try it. I was actually sitting over there like going through stuff, trying to figure out what I could put where and what I want to combine where and things like that. So that stuff excites me, so it probably will keep me up tonight because when I get off of here, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to go play with that. So who knows, right? But positive note is I am working about an hour every day. Or so. I go to bed an hour earlier than I did the night before. That still means between 3:30 and 4:30, right? But I'm going to bed a little earlier. I do have to say that the first night that I tried leaving my glasses on the bathroom counter and going to bed so I couldn't look at my phone or anything like that, I did go to sleep a lot faster. Like I feel like I put my little headphones on and I don't even remember the first parts of my little frogs going, I was out, boom, like that. But that was late already. It wasn't like I went to bed at a decent time, like 10 or 11, and then, or even midnight would be decent at this point, and just, went right to sleep. I couldn't sleep, so I stayed up until I was feeling sleepy, which was on that day was like 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. So, but I'm just going to roll with it. I mean, I've been all concerned and worried about I'm getting enough sleep because I'm just rearranging my schedule. So instead of, going to sleep early and getting up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, now I'm just going to sleep late and getting up 8 hours later. And it's funny because my body, and I know a lot of people have talked about this before, my body just automatically at 8 hours goes, hello, we're ready. Like, it's like 8 hours is the magic number, and I wake up on my own at 8 hours. Most times I don't even need an alarm as long as I'm getting 8 hours, and it doesn't matter what time I went to bed as long as I get 8 hours. So right now I'm just kind of rolling with it. I'm getting things done that I needed to get done. I'm not stressing or anything about it. I'm just saying, okay, this is how we're working right now. And it actually works out good because then I'm not wandering around the house looking for stuff and digging through things and saying, oh, where did we put such and such, and interrupting Kathy while she's in Creami zone. And so with me sleeping later, she's up earlier and she's up here, and her clanking around and stuff doesn't even wake me up because I've got my headphones on. So it's kind of working for us right now. So I'm just going to kind of go with it and quit stressing about it and just, I'm getting work done. That's all that matters. Talk about getting work done, y'all. If you're waiting on that Creami book, the pre-sale is probably coming out, I would say, within the next week. Today, like, she was just like entering that stuff in the preview thing, and I'm like, sweet. I think she's probably within 10 or 15 recipes being written out in the manuscript, and that's awesome. And so then what she'll do is hand that over to me to put in the nice little, to make it look like a book, and then she'll, at the same time, she'll be adding in pictures and seeing what she needs to retake and things like that. So I am stoked for everyone that's coming out, and yeah, y'all, like, waffle bowls. I'm very excited about the waffle bowls. It's just actually very fun. And of course, this time she had to add in a new machine that she didn't think she was going to have to add in when she was first talking about doing Creami Book 3. So she had to do a whole section on the Creami, you know, the swirl, so that, you know, she has some instructional messaging in there for that as well, like she does the others. She was also today going through and doing deluxe measurements at the same time she was doing regular measurements. So like there's going to be deluxe and regular stuff in there too. So this one's going to be pretty comprehensive, and there are some recipes in this one that are super delicious. And you guys know that I am like, actually, I am a chocolate person. Like, okay, I only want chocolate. If it doesn't have chocolate in it, I don't want it. There's been a couple that she has made that are not chocolate, that are weird things that I never thought I would put in my mouth, that I'm like, holy cow, that is good. So look forward to those. I don't want to give any spoilers, but some of them would go really good if you had an Asian dish for dinner. That would be a great dessert. And then there's lots of fruit involved, and some of them that actually I really like. Fruits that I didn't think that I liked because of texture. When they are pureed to death and turned into a Creami pint, apparently I love them. So maybe I'm not such a chocolate person anymore. So that would be nice. So got lots of comments going on, and see who's here. We got TL is here, Ann is here, Vegana is here, red lentil, yellow lentil. Can you send me an email to support@healthyslowcooking.com, and then I'll just give you that information that you need for getting stuff to us. Lisa's here. Good evening. It's very good to see you. Jason is here. Talk it out. We're here for you. It's only 3 p.m. in Kauai. Wow. That is crazy. That is so crazy. Yeah, those time zones are what got me messed up. So we were in the Alaska, so we were 4 time zones from our time zone, and we're still just kind of like it. She's back to normal for the most part, but me, I'm not. And like I said, I'm just going with it. And Lisa says that I'm lucky. She tends to wake up at the same time every morning, no matter what time she falls asleep. And right, and there's a whole bunch of people that do that. In fact, we went to dinner with a friend of ours on the weekend because we actually missed her birthday. And so we joined her and Jeremy and came to see us. It was me, Kathy, and Jeremy and our friend Alyssa, and it was a makeup of Alyssa's birthday, and we were all just trying to catch up and stuff because we didn't know how much time we would have to catch up with them. And she was saying to me that she wakes up without an alarm religiously. She doesn't even have to set an alarm, and she wakes up at the same time every day. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I have never quite got to that point. I mean, I was close when I was working at my last job. I was getting kind of close to waking up at the same time every day. But I never really felt comfortable enough that it was solid enough for me to not use an alarm. So I kind of freak out if I don't have an alarm set. And lately, with my headphones, I'm not hearing my alarm, and Kathy has to go turn my alarm off and say, hey, your alarm's going off. So I'm like, sorry. And Apple says I'm on a similar sleep schedule. 3:30 to 4 a.m. is sleepy time, and then 8 hours later I wake up. Thankfully, I can do that schedule without a bother. And, I'm starting to realize it's not really a bother for me either. I mean, today, I didn't get 8 hours. And the reason I didn't get 8 hours today, I think I got 6.5 hours today, was because I had to go get tires on my car that I had been putting off, and my dad kept saying, you need to get tires on your car, and I'm putting them off. And so my brain just said, you need to go ahead and do this, eat the frog, take care of what you need to take care of, and, just do it first thing in the morning so that nothing can get in your way and have you stop from doing that. And that's kind of like a really awesome method. If you have never heard of the whole eat the frog method before, it's basically you do the one thing that you dread the most for that day. You just do it straight out the gate, first thing, get it over with, and then you're done. And you don't have to stress about it, and you don't. A lot of people use that method for working out. Kathy and I used to use that method for going for long walks for a long time before they became really enjoyable for us to do. There was a time when Kathy and I were both like, I don't want to go walk today. But you know what? It's too hot. It's too cold. It's going to rain, and we don't know when, and we don't want to have to carry an umbrella. And it's like, Max is walking slow today. Like, we made up every excuse in the book because we really just didn't want to walk. But you know what? When we started just going, look, roll out of bed, put on some clothes, go out the door, walk. Just get it done. And then you'll find when you come home, you're like, holy cow, it's going to be such a great day because you're feeling energized. And for us, we talk about game plan, what we're going to do. We talk about things we need to talk about business-wise. And, it's kind of like our morning scrum for the most part. For those that are familiar with the whole scrum mentality and stuff, where you have your morning powwow and everybody figures out what they're doing for the day kind of thing. And it works. And so today, didn't want to do those tires, but luckily you can do everything online nowadays. And so I sitting around last night, I just sucked it up and said, these are the tires I want. I don't want to pay the price of the guy that quoted them to me last week because it was too much. He wanted me to pay $1,700 for 4 tires. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. So I said, I'll just, then I was like, I just don't want to do this. It's too much trouble. And so I was going to put it off again. And then last night I was like, you know what? We're going to be traveling. And I don't want to be on the highway and have a tire blow out and then have to call my dad in Florida and be like, I'm in Florida and my tire blew out. And my dad's going to be, I told you to get tires. So I don't even want to hear it, right? I am 50-something years old, but I will forever be 16 to them. So I just don't want to deal with it. So I went online last night and I said, this is the tire I want. And then, boom, place down the road came up. Less than $1,000 for 4 tires. I have big tires on my SUV, so they cost a lot. They were even cheaper than they were at Costco. So I said, look, I can pay online and get an extra $60 off for setting up an account online. Paid for it, made my appointment, showed up first thing this morning, bam, tires within an hour. So I am a firm believer in the whole just get that thing that you don't want to do, get it done first thing. And then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to sit there and stress about it. There's always something we have on a list that one or both of us is like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to think about that. I don't want to have to research that. And you know what? One of us has to just put our big girl pants on and just say, okay, let's do it first thing. Just eat it first thing, get it out of the way. Then we don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. And then if we have enough time later on in the day, maybe we can do something fun. So, we've gone to the rewarding ourselves for doing adulting. And actually that works too. So I highly recommend that. Reward yourself if you're adulting and you're doing a good job at it. It's very hard to adult sometimes. And I think you all know what I mean. And I don't care how old you are or how young you are. Everybody gets to a point where they're just like, I don't want to adult today. I just want to be a child. And sometimes we need that. And I've talked about that before too, about do something that's fun and reminds you of being a kid and just kind of sparks a little joy when you do it. It can be something simple. I'm still doing the playing with Lego things and I love it. Oh my God, it's so much fun. I actually have 2 new little packs of little Lego things, and they're really small. They're just like a little thing that you put together, and you can usually find them in the checkout aisles at like Target or Walmart or something like that, and they're usually like less than $5. I think the most I ever paid for one was like $6. Most of the time they're $4.99, and it's just a little pack, and you just make this one little thing. And so I got a couple of those that I'm going to take with me on the next trip, so that when my brain is having a hard time, that I can just play and make my brain go, oh, we just had a good time. Now we can actually go adult. And I think it's going to work. Let's see what else we have. Jason says, have you heard Dr. Lyle's talk on morning birds and night owls? It has to do with our ancestors having some that were on night watch to protect the tribe, so you just may be a night owl. And it's very possible that I'm a night owl because I worked 3rd shift, which is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. for a good 15 years of my life. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't have to deal with a bunch of political bull crap at work. I didn't have to deal with a bunch of other people at work. I didn't even have to deal with a lot of customers unless they were a super late check-in. And usually super late check-ins are easy because they're just like, I just want to go to my room, here's my credit card. So, it was nice. There wasn't a bunch of kids around for me to be sick all the time, and just I wasn't working with the people who had kids because they didn't want to work those shifts. And I was young then, and so I still also had the opportunity when I got off work at 7 o'clock in the morning to go enjoy the beach. Right? I'd go enjoy the beach for like several hours, and then I would go home and go to bed before I had to get up to go to work later in that night. And I really enjoyed being a night owl. And I do find that, I don't know, they call it muscle memory, that when I do make that like past 2 a.m., my whole body goes, yes, we're doing this again. And I think that's what happened, is because my body went, yes, we're doing this again. And because we were in a different time zone, and my body was just like, woo. And yeah. So I think that's kind of what's going on right now. And eventually I'll roll back into normalcy. But right now I'm just going to roll with it, and I'm just going to be night owl and see what happens. It's not affecting our relationship at all. In fact, it's really like with all the stuff we have to do right now, it's making life actually easier. The only thing that's bad is that working on the different schedules, we don't get that morning powwow. We don't get that early morning go out and walk. And then if we don't get the early morning go out and walk, then sometimes what happens is we get busy throughout the day. And by the time we are like putting on our shoes to go, then it's thunder and lightning, and it's that time of the year. But I'm pushing for every day to kind of move it backwards a little bit again. And I don't know, right now, like I said, I'm having the most fun trying to make some creative videos that are just pretty things that are a little informative. And yeah, I want people to go places and see pretty things, and so that's what I'm working on. But I want all of you to also be able to reach your goals and relax. And let's see, Apple says, my creative brain clicks on at 10 p.m. and I'm in my art studio for hours having fun. And that's the thing. It's fun, right? It's like all of a sudden when you're doing something creative like that, and your brain kicks in, and it goes from the all the things I have to do brain to the, ooh, let's make this brain, is so much more relaxing, so much less stressful. And so I found after a couple days of just rolling with it that I would wake up and just be in the best mood and ready to hit it the next day. And so I'm loving it right now. And I know when we go on our next trip that it'll probably fix itself, because I'll be on cruise time, and that usually fixes everything. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't think I'll be staying up really late at night on the cruise ship, because I think we'll be doing so much that I'll just be physically tired, because we're going to be on a brand new cruise ship, and so we're going to be working hard to get some good content on there so that we can share this brand new cruise ship with everyone. So Jason is Tracy. Thank you, because I was like, I don't know Jason, but Jason is just this extremely nice person that I am so glad is here. I'm just like, now I know who you are. Tanya's here. Hello, Tanya. Busy Bee is here. Hello again from cold Brisbane. Lucky I get to work from home each Tuesday morning here, so we can listen to these sessions. That's awesome. I forget that you are on that the time is that way for you guys, but I so want to go to Brisbane at some point. So I'm very, very it's a bucket list trip for me, actually. So. And Tanya says, I get up around 5 with or without my alarm, even on weekends. See, you're one of those, like our friend. It's just like time is just like boom. And I think Lisa, you're like that too. It's just like, knows what time. My body just goes, hey. I think that's kind of awesome. But I don't know that I'll ever get there. And I'm just coming to terms with, I'm okay with that. We'll just see what happens and just roll with it. And also, they say as we age, especially women, then we have this whole hormonal thing in menopause that plays into all this too. And so if this is just all of a sudden my new normal, I'm okay. I think I can handle this being my new normal for a while. And Tanya says, I still use my alarm during the week, though, just in case. Yeah. But Tanya says, I'm in bed 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Yeah. See, I've never been one, even when I worked a job that I had to be up at 6:30 in the morning to leave because of traffic and stuff in Raleigh, I would stay up till midnight. And I didn't even bat an eyelash about it. Of course, that was, almost 20 years ago. And I wasn't having all these kinds of issues I'm having now. But, yeah, going to bed at 9:30 or 10 just kind of seems like a dream right now. But we'll see. I can tell you that on the Alaska cruise, the 4 of us, we went with our friends Jill and Wayne, who are members of the Plant Pure Pod here in Chapel Hill. And they are seasoned travelers. They just nothing phases. We've learned so much from them to save money. And we had the best time with them. We've scheduled 2 more trips with them since then. And we were all in bed by 9:30 or 10 o'clock every night. And Wayne is like some of you. Wayne's gets up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, soon as the crow's nest open, he's there getting coffee for the two of them. Then he goes back, he drinks his coffee, and then he changes clothes and he heads to the gym and does his thing, gets it out of the way first thing in the morning, and he's ready to go. But, you know, and then there's us that are like looking at our messages at 10 o'clock going, oh, they already went to breakfast, so I guess we need to hurry up and go eat before they close. But, you know, we relaxed a little bit on there, and we had a good time, but we were in bed by 9:30 or 10 every night. But I guess that 9:30 or 10 was 1 or 2. So, at least in our time. So, we were going to bed like normal, I guess. And Tanya says, although my kids have later soccer nights now, so I've been in bed more like 10 or 11. Yeah. So you're missing a couple hours in there then, it sounds like. And Serenity says, I need tires too. Trying getting them in Kauai. $1,200 for one 2020 venue. I almost fell over. Yeah, tires are ridiculous. Now, I didn't have to get tires on the last car that I had because I felt like that one came with better grade tires than the same exact vehicle, 4 years newer, had the worst tires on it. That they have not lasted well at all. And they would go down the road and it was so loud in the car. It was like, and then going through South Carolina, if any of you are from South Carolina, you know what I'm talking about. If you're on the highway, if you're on 95, all your car is doing is going ba-bump, 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 ba-bump for hours. And our poor little neurospicy brains are just going, make it stop, please. So I was like, this is going to be so nice when we drive, because when I was driving home, it was so quiet in the car. I said, oh my God, we're going to be able to have a normal conversation at a normal tone of voice and not have to scream at each other over the sounds of the car. And I have a fancy SUV and I shouldn't have to be like screaming over the sounds of the car in this thing. But there you have it. I do. But now I don't, because driving home, I was like, oh, what? It was so quiet. Like, I didn't have any music on, I had everything off, and I turned to come down the road to the house, and it was like nothing. It was just silence all the way to the house, because they recently paved down there, and so it's just like smooth. And I didn't even, and they're so smooth when they drive. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. How much of a difference it makes. Plus, safer, right? Everybody's saying hello. You guys know that I love that. And Jeremy's saying, car insurance sucks. Yes. And North Carolina's car insurance rates, oh my God, they are like out of control, like way out of control. I think we're paying double what we were probably 5 or 6 years ago. In just 5 or 6 years, our insurance has doubled. And I mean, it's crazy. And they're talking about doing another increase on the insurance rates. And I'm just like, ugh. And Mona, we're hoping that you are feeling a bit better, and we're glad that you were able to make it here, and sending you hugs and well wishes, and hoping that you are on the road to recovery. Yep, cruise time fixes everything. It really does. And it's just I don't know, I think because we're out in nature more, right? Usually, even if it's just some place that we're really not that interested in, we still get off the ship and we go out and walk and just see what we come into. And unless it's a port that we're not that fond of for security reasons. I'm talking about you, Nassau. And Jeremy will back me up on that one. Nassau is not fun to get off the boat. Not currently, but everything else, I mean, we'll just go walk and see what we can get into, and we get that fresh air. Sometimes we'll even do like a quick little snorkel thing, and then by the time we get in, eat dinner, we're wiped out. We don't even have time for second or third dinners when we get that much activity in. So yeah, no late night pizzas happening for me then. Of course, late night pizzas haven't been happening for me much lately anyhow, but they are on the table always, especially if I'm with Jeremy or Elizabeth. Let's see, Tanya says, I used to be a night owl and not a morning person. This only started maybe the last 3 years. I'm 49 and yep, full on perimenopause. I actually want to sleep in, but I can't. Yeah. And that, that's a thing. So just stick it out. You can do it. And there's Elizabeth, speak of the devil. Hello, hello. Glad to see you. Yes, she's singing again, and I had to tell her earlier to stop singing, and she just thinks she's humming, but she's full on singing, and she's full on doing it loud, and I'm sorry, y'all. I can't. This is my life. She put those headphones on, she can't hear anything except whatever she's listening to, which is good, right? So when there's crazy noises and stuff that bothers her, she can block it out. But she is a happy little person sometimes, and when she listens to her songs and she starts to hum or sing along, so it's kind of cute. But I think it's hilarious that you guys can actually hear her. And I'm going to go tell her again. You know what, Tanya? That's exactly what my mom and my grandma said too, is you shouldn't stop a person from singing because they are happy. And I always think about that when somebody's getting on my nerves or something because they're like singing and stuff. And I'm always like, you know what? They're happy. Just let them go. Just let them go. All right, I'm going to tell her though. Not because I'm trying to harsh her or anything, but because she really does it and doesn't realize it. So here we go.
Oh, am I doing it again?
Yeah, you're doing it again.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, we know you're happy, but...
No, I'm just keeping the part that's complaining, that part of my brain occupied so I can do the work. The part that doesn't want to do the work, I just go play happy thing. Go play.
Okay.
Well, at least now you know why I yell at you when you open boxes.
Yes, I do. I do.
I'm sorry.
You're right, people.
Sorry, everybody.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Let's see. And talking about car insurance, Apple says, we have no fault insurance in most of Canada, which means we cannot sue for damages. Our own policies cover damages to our person and personal items. This sucks because there is not pedestrian insurance. Last year I was hit by a car and it totaled my wheelchair. No coverage, had to pay out of pocket for a new one. Oh my God, that is horrible. So you guys don't have any kind of like, I guess, what do they call it over here? Is it liability or uninsured motorists or something like that that would cover things? Wow, that's crazy. I'm so sorry that you had to pay out of pocket for a new one, because that seems really like unfair, and that seems like something that whoever hit you should have had to pay for. And Mona was saying that some states have that here as well. and that she is not fond of it either. And yeah, that's Elizabeth says that's funny. She's blocking you out. Yeah, she's her headphones, man. We finally pulled out. So she's been having trouble with the Apple EarPods because she had a little spot in her ear that we think was from her sleep headphones where she kind of might got cut or something, and it got kind of scabby, and so it's a little tender. So she hasn't been able to wear those. So she has her Sony big ones on, and I think they block out the world, and so she honestly thinks that she's just humming and that it's not internally and that it's not outward. So it's really funny that we can all hear her. But yep, we know she's happy, right? Hello, Roxy. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Red lentil, yellow lentil says, I only have one earbud in so I don't hear Kathy. You must have the earbud on the side of the track that's just my voice, right? And Tanya says that they have liability and collision in Canada, at least where in Ontario. And Busy Bee says in Australia they have third-party insurance included in the registration fees, so Apple's situation would have been covered. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, that's so wrong. So very wrong. And Tanya says, if we get in fender bender here, we exchange insurance info with the other car. That's what we do here. And then we just let the insurance companies hash it out, right? So that's kind of what we do here. If it's a good system or not, I'm not sure. I've only been in a few accidents, knock on wood, in my life, and one was bad enough that I had to go to the hospital, and I had to have 72 stitches in the inside of my mouth, all across here, and they had to sew the bottom of my lip back onto my jaw area, I guess. Because I got cut with glass from the windshield. I was on my way to school one morning, going to college, and there was a car that came flying down this where everybody merged in, and it was flying, and he cut off a bunch of people, and everybody had to swerve or anything, and I didn't have anywhere to go because there was a ditch that dropped down on one side of me and there was oncoming traffic on the other side of me. So I just slammed on my brakes and just closed my eyes, and I hit a car in front of me. I was in a Ford Escort, which was this tiny little hatchback, kind of, if you remember what a Volkswagen Rabbit looks like, it was kind of similar to that. And very tiny, one of the first kind of like plasticky bumper cars and everything. And the car I hit was like an old Buick that was like a tank of steel. So, and it was sitting still, and I slid into the back of it, and it actually pushed the engine block back because she actually hit the car in front of her, and then it was just all this, and then the car hit me from behind and pushed me even more, and it was crazy. And so none of us were really at fault. We were all just trying to avoid having a collision because this other guy caused it, and they never got that guy because he's flying down the road, and some people tried to write his tag number down and stuff like that, and I don't ever know what happened, but it was pretty nasty. And then the other one that I had was kind of the same situation. We were in traffic, and big truck came up from behind, and he was on his cell phone and he wasn't paying any attention, and he slammed into me and then pushed me into the car in front of me. So I wasn't hurt in that one, and my airbags went off, and that was crazy because that was the first time that I had airbags, because the other car that I had actually didn't have airbags when that accident happened. They weren't real popular yet, So the second one that I had, I was much older. I was probably in my mid-30s, and airbags went off everywhere. And the most I had to worry about that one was, you know how that dust from the airbags like gets in your eyes and makes your eyes all irritated and stuff. But when the paramedics got there, they cleaned my eyes out for me, and then I was good to go. But yeah, accidents are not fun. Insurance is not fun. None of that is good to deal with. And yes, Mona, you're correct. Your insurance goes up no matter if you're a good driver or not. It's been so long since I've been in an accident, or Kathy's been in an accident, that we're considered like never been in an accident at this point. And we're older, and we have cars with all the safety stuff in them, and still it crawls up. And then the insurance guy told me, he goes, well, it goes up because it costs more to get them fixed because the parts are more expensive now. And I'm just like, I mean, cars go up and up and up, and it just, the insurance, don't get me started. I think it's a little scammy sometimes, but I think there are some insurance companies that are better than others. I like our insurance company. I feel like they're pretty fair. In fact, they gave me the option when I bought my car, the last car that I have, because he was like, well, even though it's the same car and stuff, because it's 4 years newer, then the price is going to go up on your insurance. And I was like, I'm aware. And he said, but what I can do to keep that price down is, if you want, you can just go with whatever parts that we find available. Like, it doesn't have to be original manufacturer OEM parts that they put on your car. It just has to be a part that fits your car. Or you can pay the extra and it'll go up. But when you pay that extra, you will get genuine replacement parts if anything is to happen. So I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I would rather have genuine replacement parts and know that if that car gets totaled, that I am going to be okay getting a new one and not being stuck without a car or being able to afford another car. So that's kind of where I am on the insurance thing. Don't like it. House insurance goes up too. They just did, and taxes go up. I mean, it just seems like everything's going up these days. But we have to keep our heads up, because everything is going to get better. We just have to just stick it out. And that's kind of how I'm feeling. I know there's some things going on that Kathy was really upset about earlier today, but I'm like, we just have to stick this out. We just have to stick this out. And, I don't want to go run to someplace else. I don't want to leave my parents here. I want to stick it out, and I want to be part of the fight for what we believe in. So there it is. That's my political statement for the day, is I'm staying and I'm not going anywhere. And I will fight you for it. So anyhow, that's where we are. So my sleep, going with it. How about you guys? Everybody had a little something that they were going to try to do last week. I just decided to roll with the sleep, and it's made me a much happier, much better person for it. And I actually have lost another 2.5 pounds this week, so I'm kind of happy about that. I've kind of gotten in my stride again now that we're back with my rice and my tofu and my vegetables. And so, I love my rice and vegetables. I did have some Ethiopian food on Saturday night, and it was delicious. I'm very partial to the restaurant that we went to, and it was really, really nice. So they have a great, they have a vegan one, and they bring out, if you've never had Ethiopian food, they have this teff bread that's almost kind of wet, but kind of thick, but not too thick. And it's got little holes in it, so it kind of looks it's fermented, and it's made from teff flour. And then they put the stews on top of it. And at that place, I think you get either 5 or 6 different little stews. And then they bring you extra teff out, and you don't use silverware. You use the teff bread to scoop the stews out and eat it that way. And I used to hate that. And the only time that I would go to eat Ethiopian food was for Kathy's birthday, because she would be like, I really want Ethiopian food. And I'd be like, okay, it's your birthday. Any other time I'd be like, no, I don't want to go there. I just don't want to go there. Nope. And then I definitely didn't want to go with other people and I was afraid I was going to have to share all the stuff, because there was this one place where if you went with more than just you and your partner, and you had 2 other people with you, then they would just put everybody's order on this big thing of teff, and then everybody was like pulling, and I'm like, I don't want other people touching my food. I love y'all, but I don't want your hands in my food. So, it was very nice to find this place that actually bring out a separate platter for everybody, and it's so good there. And now, like, I asked to go to Ethiopian. Now it's like, and Kathy's like, don't rock the boat. She's finally wanting to go there. So, and I really like it now that I've kind of embraced the whole eating with my hands. And the eating with my hands thing was more like a texture issue kind of thing for me. I was like, I don't want to use my hands. I'm okay with eating a piece of pizza with my hands, though most of the time I am guilty of using a fork. I'm okay with eating a burger or fries or something that's finger foods, right? Anything that's considered a finger food, I'm okay with that. But when it came to the Ethiopian stuff, I was like, I just was like, my hands are going to get all dirty eating this, is what I thought. I was going to just have slop all over me. And that's not really the case. I remember when I first would go with Kathy for her birthday, I would ask the lady at the place for a fork. And she would always just laugh and bring me a fork. But now I'm like full in with the eat with my hands and the whole 9 yards, and I absolutely adore it. Apple says she does too. She loves Ethiopian food. And yes, Jeremy is correct. I stuck to 1 scoop of ice cream for dessert, and we found this new place that only one of us had ever been to, and actually it's a keeper. They had some good flavors. It was really nice. They had their chocolate ice cream was more towards the coconutty side, so it was almost like an Almond Joy kind of thing for me. But it was good, and I would definitely go back there and get another 1 scoop of ice cream. So that is awesome. And Mona says, I wish we had an Ethiopian place here. I miss what Colorado had. You know, you're in Alabama now, is that right? I bet you Birmingham or Huntsville would have an Ethiopian restaurant. I'm not sure how far you are from either of those places, but there's enough techie people in Birmingham and enough kind of like, I'm going to call them rocket scientists, because basically that's what they are. But there's enough of a community there that I think that might be something that they would have there. But it could be worth checking out. Because, yeah, it would be really hard for me now, eating the way I do, to like go, like when my parents lived in Alabama, I didn't eat this way, so it wasn't an issue. And also we weren't together yet, so I didn't have to navigate for her either. So, when I would go visit my parents, it was lots of barbecue. It was lots of country cooking. It was lots of fried okra, things like that. Meat and 2 sides kind of place. I used to love a meat and 2 sides kind of place, and now I'm just like, nope, give me the veggie platter. I'm happy. And those were like a dime a dozen. You could find them on any corner, but it was a little harder to find healthier options back then. And I'm talking, this is 20 years ago probably. And after we got together, we did go to a food conference for a couple years with Kathy's agent that was in Birmingham. And we were actually able to find some pretty good veggie places, or places that had options for us. In fact, one of the barbecue places that was a sponsor of the conference, they actually had a veggie barbecue back then. It wasn't made out of jackfruit, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was made out of. I cannot remember. But it was tasty. It was very tasty. And they did a really good job with it. And then they had some sides that weren't like swimming in butter or any kind of fat back or anything like that. They had options that were good. And we were pleasantly surprised. We went to that conference 2 years in a row because it was a really good food conference. It was a big deal conference. Yeah, we haven't been to food conference in a long time. And I was just thinking the other day that it would be really fun to go to another food conference. But I guess we kind of did when we went on the Holistic Holiday. I think that was kind of a food conference in a way, because you had the same kind of thing. You had the agenda of, you went to the speakers and you went to the events, and and you all ate together and that kind of thing. So I think, in a way, I think the Holistic Holiday could pretty much be considered a conference in a way. Tanya says, I don't want people's hands in my food either. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm real particular about who can stick their hands in my food, and there's only a list of about, I'm going to say 5 people off the top of my head that I would let stick their hands in my food, and two of them are on this call right now. Actually, I'm going to go as far as to say 3 of them are on this call right now. So, hello, Diana. I haven't seen you in a while. It's so good to see you. And Video 1000 Nights. Haven't seen you in a while either. So good to see you. And Elizabeth says, I've never had Ethiopian food before. Have you guys ever been to the place in Orlando called Nile? I think we have. I think we went there with Jenny Field and her husband when we were at a food conference in Orlando. That was at the place you got married. Oh, what is it? The creek. I can't think of the name of it. But it's it used to be at that place where you got married, and it was a great conference, and we loved that conference too. And we still have a lot of friends that we're close with that we met at that conference. But Jenny and Jeff actually live in Garner, and Jenny and Jeff used to live in Orlando, and so whenever we would all go down there for the conference, they would be like, hey, let's go over here. And one of the places that we went to, and I think it was Nile, and if I remember correctly, it was super yummy. So, yeah. Mona says an hour and a half is a bit far. Oh, that is kind of far. But if you happen to be, out and about, if you have to go there for some reason, maybe that's something that you can look to see that they have, since you haven't had it in a while, because that would be nice. And Elizabeth, we may have to rectify your never having Ethiopian food before thing, because it's veggie stews, and it's good, and you can get some that are spicy, some that are not spicy. They have amazing greens, lots of lentils. The one here is they have this potato and tofu dish I've never had anywhere else, and it's really delicious. So I think you would like it, and maybe we can add that into our expectations for our trip. And Tanya's never had Ethiopian food either. I said I never had it until I met her. And I never had Indian food until I met her, because it was just not in the circles that I ran in. It was not anyone that I associated with would ever even think about eating either of those things. Going to a Mexican restaurant was about as far as the stretch could go with the bunch I used to go out to eat with. So I had very limited taste buds. And now, and somebody said this before, and it might have been Tanya, not sure, it was either Tanya or Elizabeth said that, or it might have been Apple. One of you guys said that they think that maybe I can't be considered a picky eater anymore because I kind of eat everything. And I think that's kind of true. I think that I probably am not really a picky eater anymore. I still pick the onions out of everything, but that's kind of it. I still kind of like to taste everything, and I'm even getting okay with beets. When we were in Seattle, we went to this restaurant, and they had this tasting menu, and everything on that menu was derived mainly from beets or some foraged mushroom, and I was over the moon with every single thing that I had on there. Shingle Creek, that's right. Yep, Shingle Creek. That's a beautiful hotel, and it was a great place for the conference. It really was, and they were really great to all of us too, because they had the hospitality college right there, and a lot of chefs got trained there and stuff, I guess, or they had like a food program or some kind in that college as well. And so a lot of them were there, and they would bring in people like our friend Denise Vivaldo, who is like one of the premier food stylists and designers in the entire world. Like, she used to do movies and stuff. Like, you'll watch some movie, and if there's beautifully done table and food setting, she probably had her hand in it at some point, especially like back in the 80s and 90s when she was like really hitting it hard. But she's really good. Kathy actually learned a lot from her, and yeah, she's an awesome person. We love her. She lives in California, so we don't get to see her very often. Like all our California friends, we don't get to see very often. We haven't been able to go see Chef AJ again this year, but I think we're going to sneak in a little Chef AJ time, hopefully next spring, but we'll see. Yeah, Elizabeth, I think that you would like it, and maybe that's someplace we can all go together so that we can kind of tell you what to get and stuff. So totally on board with that if you are. And Hydran's here. Hey, Hydran. It's good to see you. Kathy still hasn't busted out that crispy yet because she is still in Creami mode. And so those of you who joined late, Kathy has been testing out some things like waffle bowls. These are too thick, too hard and too thick. So she's still working on perfecting this recipe, and she's got some ideas of how to kind of change it around. So that'll be fun. They smell amazing. They smell like you would expect a waffle bowl to smell, with this little hint of vanilla, almost like a sugar cookie that hasn't been decorated yet, for like at Christmas, like a shortbread or like a sugar cookie that they put the sugar on the top. It has that vanilla-y kind of smell to that. So yeah, I was possibly gonna crank up the Creami and put something in that and give it a test run after I get off of here, but I don't know. We'll see. Depends. Yes, definitely we can talk about maybe doing that, because I think Kathy will be on board with that too. Oh, Diane, I'm so sorry to hear that. If there's anything that we can do, if you just need somebody to talk to, shoot us an email. we're happy to talk to you or be an ear if you just need to vent. Just let us know. And Tanya says, I'd say you're more adventurous than many now. Yeah. Yeah, but Jeremy knows the truth. Baby mild is what we ask for when we go to the Indian restaurant and order for Cheryl. And they ask what spice level you want, and this is also true of Thai restaurants. The answer is baby mild. And baby mild is basically how they would cook it for small children. So that's what I am. Baby mild. I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says baby mild on the back. It'd be my name. I am not sure what these are made out of. I believe some kind of gluten-free something. These actually might have some teff in them. I can't really tell. I can tell that there's vanilla in them from the little specks. I don't know. Let me taste it. It's chewy. Because it's been sitting out here all day. It's like a less vanilla-y when I taste it. I expect it to be sweet, but it's not. But it's not very doughy either. It just needs to be thinner. I think it's perfect. It's just not. Yeah, it's just not, yeah, and it's not sweet at all, so I think it's probably gluten-free, just by the mouthfeel. I think it's gluten-free, but not bad. If it was just a little thinner, I think it would be perfect, actually, the flavor. I like it. So, I don't know, she's still working on all that stuff. She's got all this, I mean, it's a hot mess in here. You can't even see all the stuff that's piled over here. I mean, you can kind of see that there's a bunch of Creami containers over here, and there's things out like baking powder. And raspberry rosé simple syrup. I don't know what that's for. Oh, she must have got one of her alcohol-free boxes today, because I'm like, this stuff's not for Creamies. This is alcohol-free mocktail. She's not putting that in Creamies, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I don't know. What's this one? Apple Marigold. Oh. No, I don't think those are for Creamies. I think she must have busted open one of those boxes. That's the only thing that it can be. All right, Tanya, sorry. Go to bed. It was nice chatting with everyone, especially Tanya, who popped in for a little bit, and we love it when you pop in for a little bit. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you next time. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, we will have Tiffany from the Starch Solution on. She will be answering your questions. So if you have any starch solution related questions, please bring those at 1 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, and she will be happy to answer those for you. She'll be here for about an hour from about 1 to 2. I'm not sure if they're doing, no, I think they're in between sessions right now. Sorry. That thing's a little thick. Elizabeth says, can she make Creamies with alcohol? That's book number 4. Maybe. You know, they make milkshakes with alcohol, like beer and milkshakes. What's that place? Red Robin advertises that they have like milkshakes with beer in them. I don't know. But that could be fun, especially if it was non-alcoholic beer, because I'm not into the alcoholic stuff the alcohol stuff anymore. It doesn't even taste good to me, right? I would rather have a really nice, like, juice blend kind of thing. Oh yeah, I forgot that Kathy's doing a demo on Chef AJ too. And I think that's the Ninja Crispy demo, which she needs to she needs to take a break from the Creami and get some stuff going on that one, I think. Actually though, it does look like she's taking it out of the box, so maybe when I was sleeping she was already doing something with that and it just got moved back, the box got moved over and the swirl got brought back out, so they swap places over here in the corner quite frequently. There's also going to be another person here that I have not done the information for yet because I was waiting on her to send us an email to confirm. And that is Jane. And Jane is from England, I believe, is where she is from. And she's on quite often. And she will be joining us on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to catch live with Jane, you can do that on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And what else is going on this week? I'm rolling with my sleep, trying to get in some steps, trying to get my packing down to an art. So in case some of you came late, I was kind of trying to check out if any of you are one baggers, because I'm very interested in the one bagging, but I know Elizabeth is probably rolling on the floor right now, laughing at how in the world I could possibly be a one bagger. And she is correct to be rolling on the floor laughing, because she has seen my full effect of 2 suitcases and a backpack and trying to get those up an escalator. But yeah, I'm trying to pare down. I'm really trying to pare down, especially Elizabeth said that's a hard no. I really want to try, but I think it's going to get down to a carry-on and a backpack, because I think I'm just going to have that extra space. So, Apple. Apple is a minimal packer. Yes. So, I've got to do about 8 weeks. And I have been convinced, and I am embracing the fact that I am only going to take like a week's worth of clothes. And we're just going to wash clothes whenever we're in a place where we can wash clothes. And we've kind of made it so that several places that we're at has a place for us to wash clothes. So there's that. And yeah, and Apple says, but I'm not carrying a load of filming equipment. And that stuff, it's heavy. It takes up space. Like I was saying earlier, I'm actually putting some of that stuff in different kinds of ultra lightweight bags that have a little padding and taking them out of their... I'm always so worried something's going to break, and I buy these like ridiculously heavy like tank cases to put everything in, and the cases themselves weigh like 5 pounds each. So I'm like, nope, taking everything out of those and just going to go very minimal, because we're going to be on ships, in a plane, hoofing it on trains. So I want to be as minimal as I possibly can, to just get from one place to the other without like breaking my back again. So I think going with the smaller backpack is going to work in my favor. And then the majority of, I wish I could do the opposite, right? And I could for on the way there, but we have to fly to New York. So, yeah, that won't work. I was thinking maybe I could put all of my filming equipment in the carry-on bag and then put all my clothes in the backpack. And then it would be lighter, probably, that way. But since we're flying to New York, that's not going to work for me because everything has rechargeable batteries. And you can't put those rechargeable batteries, you can't check those. So, and we're going to have to check the suitcases because we're going to be on JetBlue. And our suitcases are like, well, we could probably get away with it, but I don't know that we want to push it. So we'll see how it all ends up. I think we might play with it a little bit and see what we come up with. But yeah, I mean, I just obsessively watched the One Backpack people, and I'm just like glued to the television. And every time I get done watching one of them, I'm like, oh my God, I can totally do this. This is going to work. And then I go through my stuff because we've already started putting all our stuff out in the guest room downstairs so we can get everything, just like make sure we don't forget anything. And then I start looking at everything I got, and then I'm like, that's not going to work. I tried really hard on the last trip. I tried really, really hard. But that bag, that 35-liter bag was just way, way too big for me. Because as much as I like to feel like I'm taller than Kathy, I am still short as a human being. So it was just, that thing hang down past my butt. It had so much stuff in it. I looked like a teenage mutant ninja turtle going through the airport. Yeah, if anybody would have just pushed me wrong, I would have toppled backwards on that thing, I think, because it was so heavy. It was very comical. What we should have done is film me walking through the airport looking like a ninja turtle. But hindsight, right? Susan says, hi, just signed in. One bag is an impossibility for me. I tried and totally failed. You know? And that's what Kathy was like. I was all like, one bag, one bag, one bag, one bag. And Kathy's like, we're just going to get little suitcases. Not these big honkers we've been hauling around. And then we'll just be conservative about what we have. Kathy can go conservative on, like, she's like, I'm only going to take like 3 pairs of shoes. If I take 3 pairs of shoes size 10, they're going to take up my whole entire carry-on. She wears like size 6. She can pack them all in one little shoe bag and stick them in the corner, and that's it. Mine, they take up the whole darn suitcase just putting them in there. So I don't know. I tried to get some really, I am going the way of Birkenstocks for a lot of this trip. We'll see how that works because they seem to take up a little less space, but I will take my hiking boots, well, my hiking tennis shoes by Altra. I will take those because they are waterproof as well, and they're kind of like high top looking things, and I will wear those so that they're not taking up so much space. I can't believe, 16-liter backpack for 3 months? That's crazy because I'm like looking at, I got a 28-liter backpack and I'm looking at it going, I can't take more than 3 days worth of stuff in here, but I guess I'm just not like, and then I tried the packing cubes and was like, yeah, the packing cubes weren't getting it for me either. These are the things that I was staying up stressing over, by the way, when I couldn't go to sleep. Elizabeth says, going to Boston and then Rhode Island in July for 9 days. I was thinking of just doing the small suitcase on the plane to avoid luggage fees. Then I laughed and said, that is never happening. I don't think, you're almost as bad as me. But you got it down to an art. So I'm not like, y'all, I went into Elizabeth's room when we were on the last cruise together. Elizabeth pops open her suitcase, and she's got everything on hangers, and she just pulls it out and hangs it up. Like, she just, everything, just bloop, I'm done, I'm unpacked. What's taking y'all so long? But those hangers and stuff take up some room. And Jeremy says, bring clickers for your things and see how often you use things. Then cut once you have enough data. You know, that's actually a really, really good idea. Keeping track of what we don't actually use. And there are some things that we've been taking with us constantly that have not come out of a suitcase. And so I am already cutting those things. And then our giant medical bag that is like a hospital pharmacy. It is heavy. It takes up a huge amount of space. And so we are paring that down to a much smaller and concise thing, a pack of things. And I think that's going to help too. I mean, like, we were bringing everything under the sun in the event that we might need something. We're going to take what we have used and had to replace. We're going to take our Dramamine. We're going to take our nausea pills from the doctor and some ibuprofen or something like that and kind of call it a day. Although Kathy will probably want to take there's this stuff we bought that you can like replace crowns. If your crown comes loose, you can temporarily fix it kind of thing until you can get home. It takes up this much space. It's just this little teeny tiny little vial of like powdery stuff that I guess turns into like glue stuff. And so we'll take that probably because that would be a big expense if we had to get that done. But however, we are going to be spending a lot of time in places where people live that we can easily get something if we need it. So in that respect, we're going to pare down quite a bit. See, Apple says, I watch videos like that too. Lately, I've been watching tiny Tokyo apartments, and I don't even live in Japan and never will, but it's so interesting. Have you ever watched the tiny Japanese campers? Like, they camp out of their car, and then they have like these whole entire, like they just entire kitchens that they pull out of the back of their car, and they bring their animals with them and stuff. I mean, it's amazing. I can watch those for hours, and none of them really talk. They just show them, like, it's almost like ASMR. They just show you unpacking things and then setting things up, and then they're very meticulous about how they set everything up, and it's very fascinating, and it's very calming as well because, like I said, it's a lot like ASMR, so that's kind of cool. Elizabeth says even my bras and pajamas are on hangers. And Apple says, pajamas, see, I don't pack those. There you go, that takes care of space, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think. Could I cut out pajamas? Because, I mean, I could just, like, wear one t-shirt that I had planned to take in case I needed to have an extra t-shirt, but I could just wear that as pajamas. That would work. Let's see. And Susan says, the packing cubes take up even more space. I have used the storage bags you roll and vent the air out of, but the shoes are a situation. Right? It is true. The shoes are always the variable there. And what I've been doing when we travel up till now, like, I've only been taking basically 2 pairs of shoes. Whatever shoes are on me at the time, which are usually either tennis shoes or my waterproof boot things. And then I take a pair of usually Birkenstocks or slide-on shoes. that are lightweight that I can just throw in the bag and squish down, and I don't have to worry about them. And then, but this time I feel like I'm going to have to take a little extra shoes because situations. So what if I need to wear nice shoes somewhere? And I'm paring down things like one pair of black pants and stuff like that. So, and nice shirts kind of thing. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think I can get there. Oh yeah, Apple. Once you start looking at like the camping stuff, like, and some of them, it's just amazing to me the stuff that they roll out that car and just start setting up. And it's a thing. And then they'll even show you cooking their dinner and stuff, and then you're just like, they have like these like teeny tiny little like things that they cook in, and then they use like the bentos and things like that. It's amazing. Like Kathy and I like spent during the pandemic, we were just like staring at the TV for hours watching them do that. It was pretty funny. All right. I'm going to get off my packing tangent now because it's not Tangent Tuesday yet. So I am going to continue to work on my sleep and embrace the craziness that is making me actually happy and calm. And I want to try to stay happy and calm because one of the things Kathy always complains about is that I get all worked up before we go somewhere, and then I'll stay up all night the night before we go somewhere if we're flying because I don't care. I don't have to drive anywhere. But then if I'm driving, then I don't give myself enough sleep time sometimes because I'll be like, oh, I forgot this, or oh, I forgot that, or all of a sudden I'm in a cleaning mood and it's the day before we're leaving somewhere. So yeah, I'm trying to plan that all out beforehand. And so a lot of my exercise over the next week is going to be me going up and down these steps, hauling stuff up and down, and cleaning. And I have some yard work that I would like to get done as well if the weather will cooperate with me. Lots of weed whacking and things like that I would like to get done so it doesn't look so much like a jungle. I don't want to look like nobody lives here. And I want to walk every day. I do really still want to just get out there and enjoy the weather. And it is hot, and it's supposed to be super hot here this week. And so, usually I'm like, well, it's hot. Maybe we should, use the Peloton kind of thing. But you know what? We need to prep for hot because we're going to Florida and it's going to be hot. And so we need to just prep ourselves for that. And the best way to do that is just go do our little 5 mile and in the heat, which actually will probably just be a 3 mile at this point. 3 miles probably will be enough in the heat for us to get ourselves used to being out in the heat again. So my goal for this week is to continue on my good choices of food choices. I feel like I'm doing super good on that. And I'm, back to loving the bowls and stuff and my veggies, my kids mix from the freezer, my peas and carrots. I'm in the zone and I want to keep that for as long as I can. So what else? What do you guys want to do this week? What's one thing that you guys either need to eat the frog on? And if you weren't here earlier, what I mean is, what's the one thing that you don't want to do this week, but you need to do, and you just need to get up and get it done and get it out of the way? So, what do you guys have that you need to do that? Today was my tires. I've been trying not to deal with those tires since we got home from Alaska. Actually, before Alaska, because actually my dad was telling me to get new tires when we were in Florida the last time. He was like, you need tires. I'm like, well, maybe, I don't know. And he's like, you need tires. So, I don't know. Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. I am doing pretty well. I'm just in the zone, and you know exactly what I mean by being in the zone. And I'm just rolling with it. Elizabeth is an expert at being in the zone. And so I can't wait to see you. It's going to be so much fun. Apple says, go to the dentist. That is another one I've got to do when we get back from Florida. I have to go to the dentist. I'm not looking forward to it. But keep them clean, and then I don't have to spend so much later, right? Well, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I hate it. I hate the noise in there. I hate just the whole feeling, but preventive maintenance, man, because if it gets bad, it's bad. And Susan said, your zone is working. You look a little thinner. I am actually. I don't really notice it as much as everybody else does. In fact, when we went to dinner the other night, Jeremy said something about it, and I didn't even kind of realize it. And then when I got home, I was like, you know, my stuff is a little baggy on me. This shirt's a little, I like to wear my stuff baggy. This shirt's a little snugger than I like around the backside, kind of. But, I mean, it's a cool shirt, so I'll wear it anyhow. Let's see. Elizabeth says, I have to grade AP exams starting on Wednesday, and my goal is to stay on track, eat more veg, and also keep up with exercising every day. That sounds like a great plan, and I think you can do it. You've got this. Just prep your lunches and your breakfast, and then just treat it like when you go to work. Just work on the exams like you would at work, and then eat dinner later with Adam. Yeah. So, and I think you'll be able to do your exercise too, because, I mean, you're in the zone right now too. So I think you've got this. I have faith in you, big time. And Lisa says, I still have winter tires on my car that I need to get changed to regular, so I need to take my car in to get that done. Yep. Just make an appointment for early in the morning, first thing, hop in, throw some clothes on, brush your teeth, and just go do it. Don't worry about what you look like. They don't care. Just go do it. Get it done, and then you've got all day to do something else. You could go for a hike, whatever you want to do, and because you got the hard thing out of the way, and that you can do something to enjoy yourself, rather than sit around going, oh, I really need to take the car in. I don't know. If any of you are like me, I spend more time complaining and whining about what I have to do than actually the time it would take for me to do it. So that's why I'm trying to just hit it, eat the frog, get the stuff done, and then have time for other stuff. And also, I have a goal, a work goal, where I'm trying to get out a video every day this week. And so, you know, when I get that done, then I'm free to do whatever. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I want to kind of do that first thing too, because I've been waiting until the last thing to do that. And then it makes me stay up even later, because then I'm all like, ooh, this is fun. I want to do more, instead of going to bed. So I want to try to move that a little earlier in the day and see how that works. But if my creative brain is not in tune with that, then I'm just going to stick to doing it when it wants to. And Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, my goal is to make phone calls to various places. I have been taking steps to get issues resolved, IRS short staffing aside. Well, phone calls, God, everybody in my household hates to make phone calls to anything. We're like, do they have chat? Can we chat? Let's like to chat online. We're in. But we don't want to talk to you on the phone. We have no desire to call and talk to your customer service people. Can't we just chat? But there are some things that we have to call about, and I need to call, and there's a couple things I need to cancel that I'm just wasting money on, and I have been putting off. So that is on my list of first thing in the mornings this week as well. So I get that. That is, phone calls are for a lot of people are just like, ugh. And I don't know if it's because we just don't really talk on the phone as much anymore. But yeah, I just like, I don't want to have to talk to a customer service agent. I'm just like, I was one, I don't want to talk to one. So. And Elizabeth said, I'm super close to being in the hundreds. I am really working hard to get there. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so excited for you. Yay. I can't wait to talk to all about you about how everything's been going when we see you. Let's see. Elizabeth says, been meeting with Stacy once a week since the beginning of May. It has helped so much having the support and accountability. Stacy is amazing. Hopefully we're going to have Stacy a little later this month before we have our little 2-month hiatus on things. But yeah, Stacy, she was our rep too, and I can't tell you how many times that I've just been like ready to pack it in and just say nothing's working for me, and Stacy has just like yanked me up out of it with just a few words. And you know, she is amazing, and she's so good at getting us through this stuff and keeping us on track. And I just love her. She's awesome. And don't forget, tomorrow we have Tiffany, guys. Tiffany works also with Stacy, and they are both work together at the McDougall Center. And Tiffany is actually, I almost called her Tracy again. Tracy's my made-up person that's a combination of Tiffany and Stacy, that I always try to combine them into one person. But Tiffany is actually like the president or the vice president of the whole shebang at the Starch Solution. So she is a wealth of knowledge, and she will answer your questions. So if you have some questions about the Starch Solution, or if you have some questions, you're on the Starch Solution, or you've done the Starch Solution in the past and you're thinking like, why is this not working for me anymore? What is going on? Just bring your question to Tiffany and let her kind of work it out and see what she comes up with. It may be something really super simple that you just need to tweak it just the slightest amount, and then bam, right? See, Elizabeth says, I won't be able to make it tomorrow, going to the beach with my mom. Oh, tell mom hi. But excited to watch the replay later in the day. Well, that is a good thing, going to the beach with your mom. And I think you should enjoy the heck out of that. So tell your mom we said hi, though. So, guys, it's 10:39, and I'm kind of thinking that we should just wrap it up and not go the full 2 hours today. Let's see. Susan says, I absolutely procrastinate making the phone calls. You just motivate me to prioritize that. You are so right. I waste more time telling myself to get it done than just doing it. And it's true. Like, I do it all the time. And like, I do it about everything. And it makes me crazy, because then when I just do it, I feel so much better. And then I sit there and think about all the time I wasted just like, you know, whining about having to do it, and just getting it done. Just eat the frog, get it done first thing in the morning, and then you have the whole day to do whatever you want. Treat yourself if you have to. Treat yourself for being an adult. We do it all the time in this house. It's like, oh, we did something right. Now we get to go walk around TJ Maxx, which everyone knows is like our calm place. For some reason, we walk around TJ Maxx and we get all super calm, and it's the weirdest thing. But it is also where we go for her to get photography props and things like that. So it's usually kind of double duty, but we do enjoy it. Especially when it starts getting time for them to have Halloween stuff. TJ Maxx and Home Goods. We haven't been in a Home Goods, and I can't tell you how long, but that's because it's not Halloween yet. As soon as they start putting out that Halloween stuff, we're going to be cruising to all the Home Goods for our entertainment. And Elizabeth says, this has been so helpful and uplifting, Cheryl. I can't wait to see you in person soon. I can't either. I'm so excited. I am just, I'm thrilled that we're going to be able to spend a few days hanging out. and going to at least one park together, maybe two. Never know, might happen. So we're very excited about it though, and it'll be fun. We are going back to Epic. You guys probably saw some of our Epic coverage where we went to the preview, to the pass holder preview, which was actually really not bad. The lines weren't bad, and there wasn't a lot of people there. In fact, it was kind of dead looking sometimes. So it's going to be interesting to see like what the crowd's like now that it's open. We've heard mixed reviews about that, so we'll see. It says it's sold out for the 2 days that we have tickets, but we'll see if that's true or not. I feel like they hold back some tickets so that they have some on day of, and we're going to see how that works out. But everyone, it has been amazing, and thank you all for noticing that I'm losing some weight again, and noticing that Kathy is a happy person because she's over there singing again. But no, everybody make sure that you take that thing that you don't want to do, that you're procrastinating, that's just making you just sit there and go, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Just grab yourself by the belt straps and kind of, I want to say bootstraps because everybody says that. So grab it by the belt straps, yank your adult pants up, go do your adult thing, do your adulting, get your adulting out of the way, and then go treat yourself to something that you love and enjoy, right? Get a pedicure, get a manicure, do something to just reward yourself for adulting for that day. And it'll be amazing. And Christine says, I was able to make an appointment at Discount Tires and I was in and out in no time. Yep, I made that appointment last night. I went online, I said, these are the tires I want. I'm okay with that price. That price is $800 less than the other place wanted to charge me. And made my appointment, paid online, showed up at my appointment time. The guy took my keys, and an hour later, I had brand new tires on my car. And I spent 2 weeks going, I gotta call about the tires. I gotta go get estimates. I gotta go around to all these places. I went to one place to get an estimate. I didn't like either of the estimates, and then was like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to do this and it. I wasted more time just whining about it than it took me to actually get everything done. So go get stuff done, because you can do this. We all got something we're procrastinating on. Just do it, and you'll feel so much better when you do. All right, guys? So I will see you all next Monday for Motivate Your Monday, and who knows, maybe there's another Tangent Tuesday in our future. We'll see. It could be on anything, but we will talk to you soon. And don't forget tomorrow, 1 p.m., Tiffany. You're going to love it.